Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nahmadahu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده له فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد من يهده له فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الحديث هدي محمد وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Praise be to Allah. We seek His help and His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and from our bad deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves astray, no one can guide. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the One, the Sustainer, Al-Razak, having no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His final messenger. Again, Amabad, whomsoever Allah guides, none can lead him astray, and whomsoever Allah sends astray, none can guide. The truest of word is Kitab Allah, the Book of Allah, and the best guidance is the guidance of Nabi alayhi wassalatu wassalam, who was known as As-Sadiq al-Amin. The worst of things are those that are newly invented, and every newly invented thing is an innovation, and every innovation is going astray, and every going astray is in an-nar, is in the fire. At this point in time, my dear brothers and sisters, we are faced with tremendous global conflict, global strife within the Muslim community. Not just because of Palestine, but because of so many other things that are happening in other countries that are impacting us here on an individual level, on a family level, on a community level, right? On a society level. SubhanAllah, there is the conflicts, the issues that are going on in Bangladesh. SubhanAllah, there are the conflicts and issues going on in India that some of you may see. In Sudan, a place that people have forgotten about right now. A country that is facing extreme levels of food insecurity and conflict. There's Afghanistan, there's Yemen, and in the West, right now, we have the United Kingdom, subhanAllah, where there are so many riots against Muslims, anti-Muslim riots, where people are starting to see the violence, the actual physical, verbal, mental violence out there towards Muslims within our own societies, subhanAllah. And this isn't just the United Kingdom, but it impacts us here in North America directly, as the United Kingdom is also a part of the West, subhanAllah. And of course, as I mentioned, there is the conflict and struggle happening in Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide relief to all Muslims in all these countries. And I forgot to mention one country, China as well, where the Uyghur Muslims are literally being tortured by the Chinese government, subhanAllah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide relief, shifa, and afiyah to all these Muslims that are being afflicted. Now when it comes to us, right, here in Aurora or the GTA, wherever you're located, right, all these things are happening on a global level, right? But we're here in Aurora, in Canada, at home, right, where we try our best to become successful in the dunya and the akhirah, right? Because for us here, subhanAllah, if those Muslims over there, they look at us, even in the UK, if they look at us, subhanAllah, it's as if we're living in luxury, subhanAllah. When we, for instance, in Ottawa, there was a Muslim man where an employee on their TTC or their rail station told him that he can't pray, told him to get up and leave. And that company decided to build a prayer booth, subhanAllah, for the Muslims in Ottawa, subhanAllah. So we have it fairly nice here in Canada, subhanAllah. And they look to us, right? They look to us and they ask us for help. And they look to us and ask us for help, both in our dua and financially too. And sometimes when we see all these issues go around, right, we ask ourselves, right, what am I doing? What am I doing? What is my rank with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If these people, if all these khatibs, of all these imams are saying that the people in Palestine are becoming martyrs, are becoming shaheed, if the people in UK, they're going to strife, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them, subhanAllah, what am I doing? What strife, what struggle am I going through? Maybe I lost $500 yesterday, but will that strife be sufficient for me, to get into Jannah, subhanAllah? And how am I going to get that rank, subhanAllah, that I want, that maqam with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I want, when I live in so much luxury and khair, right, and so much goodness? And today, my dear brothers and sisters, I want to talk about this topic. It's a very simple topic, but it's something that inspires me and inspires many other Muslims out there in the community, subhanAllah. And throughout this summer, right, we as Muslims here in Canada, we have these routines, right, these habitual routines in the summer. Waking up, eating, working, spending some time with family, sleeping, and then it repeats again, right? Wake up, study, eat, go to school, work, sleep, etc. We do these cycles over and over, right? And in terms of maqam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't, in terms of our rank, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't create us just for the sake of living, just for the sake of these routines. In Surah Al-Dhariyat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I did not create jinn and mankind except to worship me, subhanAllah, to worship Him. Not for these specific routines that we're doing, right? These specific routines we're kind of trapped in, this luxury we're kind of trapped in. So my dear brothers and sisters, the point of this khutbah, right? The first half of this point is to look at these routines that we're in, right? And keep improving on our deen. Our deen and ourselves as each day passes. And subhanAllah, this improvement can be done in so many ways. Whether it's through acts of additional worship or acts of good character or good faith, subhanAllah. And again, my dear brothers, that's not to say that your routine isn't an act of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You waking up, making sure that you're fully rested, doing that for the sake of Allah. You eating to make sure that you're healthy for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You going to work for the sake of Allah, remembering Allah during your work so that you can provide for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for those across the globe, maybe back home. This is an act of ibadah too, my dear brothers and sisters. So do not mistake this khutbah for saying that your routines, if you're not remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout your routines, that it's not an act of worship. For indeed they are if you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my dear brothers and sisters, but back to your routine, right? We're in these routines of luxury, right? And what can we do to improve on those routines? And for some of us, right, those additional acts of worship may be small, and for others it may be large. And everyone's in a different state of that journey in their deen, subhanAllah. And that small thing may be something like smiling, right? Smiling, which is an act of sunnah that many of us forget to do. Or it may be doing that extra sunnah prayer, before Fajr, right? Some of us may skip that, subhanAllah, which has a lot of reward. And for some of us, it may be coming to Isha at the masjid. It may be coming to Fajr at the masjid. It may be volunteering for the masjid or volunteering for a good charitable organization, subhanAllah. And doing these acts of worship, right, for the sake of Allah, sacrificing your time so you can better help the ummah, right? And become a better part of the ummah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a part of your worship too, subhanAllah. And what I'm trying to say here again is keep improving on your routine, dear brothers and sisters. Keep improving. And the reminder is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not solely create you, right, to fulfill these routines, right? Because you may be thinking, I'm living in this luxury, I have these luxurious routines, right? But the people back home, the people in Bangladesh, the people in India, the people in China, they don't have these routines, right? And they don't have this opportunity to improve on their routines, to keep growing, to achieve the best in the dunya and the best in the akhirah by adding these additional acts of worship, these additional acts of ibadah, and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout your day, right? So remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you wake up, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you work, as you study, knowing the reason why you do this is again as we reflect on what's written in Surah Al-Dhariyat, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create jinn and mankind except to worship Him, that you do these acts as a form of ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And always remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so my dear brothers and sisters, implement the deen in your day-to-day. To remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As you work, as you study, as you provide for your family, as you provide for even yourself, subhanAllah. Because again, even this can be a form of ibadah. As you provide for your family, as you build your businesses, as you build your resume, subhanAllah. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you're doing it for the sake of Allah. You're doing it as a form of ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to achieve that rank that you want with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So I saved the best part of this khutbah for the second half. This part is something that truly inspires me and again many other brothers and sisters, what I was mentioning in the first half. So when you achieve this rank that I was talking about, my dear brothers and sisters, when you achieve this rank, when all your actions, right, and all your endeavors and every single thing you do, when you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in them, and you know that you're doing it for the sake of Allah, right? Even work, even studying, even being with your spouse and kids, when all of this becomes ibadah and remembrance and the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what exactly happens? What exactly happens to you? What happens to your maqam, your rank? And maybe you're thinking, this khatib, this imam, this guy is going to just say akhirah, you're just going to get Jannah. But no, my dear brothers and sisters, that's not it. That's not the only thing you'll get, subhanAllah. You'll get this world too. And an authentic hadith that many of you may know, that I'm very happy and fortunate to be able to remind you all of, but Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said that Nabi alayhi wassalatu wassalam said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and truly loves a slave, right? Loves one of his worshippers, then he calls out to Jibreel alayhi salam and tells Jibreel alayhi salam, Ya Jibreel, I love so and so. So you, Jibreel, you love him or her too. And then Jibreel alayhi salam loves them. And after that, Jibreel alayhi salam announces to the inhabitants of the heavens, to all of them, to the beautiful creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created in the heavens, all those angels, all those other makhluk, all those other creations, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He calls out to them and says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves so and so, this person, this brother, this sister. So love him, love her. And the inhabitants of the heavens, the angels, right, the other creations, subhanAllah, they also love him or her. And then, that's not it, my dear brothers and sisters. Then these angels make it so that the people on earth love that person as well. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, as you go about your day to day, right, as a brother, as a sister in Islam, you try your best to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you go about your day to day. And again, add to your routine, right? Keep adding. And don't get lost in the cycle of this luxurious routine we have here, right? Whether it's the sunnah prayer, coming for Isha, whether it's the voluntary fasts, or even keeping a smile on your faces, that's sunnah, and Allah will reward you for that, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes pleased with you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes pleased with you so much so as an individual in this society, right? Not facing too much strife, not facing too much grief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still becomes pleased with you and becomes in love with you so much so that as you walk on this earth, the people, they start to like you more. They start to love you. They start to say there's something special about that brother. There's actually something special about that sister. There's something special about that colleague of mine, that coworker of mine, that other student in the classroom, subhanAllah. And this is not from you, my dear brothers and sisters. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This love, this pleasure, this is a form of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showing you that He is pleased with you, that He loves you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. That He, subhanahu wa ta'ala, loves you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us to obtain, right? And my dear brothers and sisters, that is the essence, right? That is an example of the true essence of the dua we make all the time in our salah. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِينَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Subhanallah. Achieving the best in the dunya and achieving the best in the akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love you, will show His love for you by giving you khair, goodness, in this world, right? And show you His love for you in the next by giving you Jannah, inshallah. By His mercy, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my dear brothers and sisters, again, the point of this khutbah, right? We see those individuals, right? Even in the UK, in China, in Palestine, all these people going through different levels of grief, going through different levels of torture, right? Some may even call it torture. What people are going through in the UK, especially what people in Palestine are going through, that is literal torture. And the Uyghur Muslims in China, subhanAllah. But we can still obtain that pleasure. We can still obtain that maqam with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't feel disheartened that we're here living in luxury, subhanAllah, because this luxury can be the key to your success in both the dunya and the akhirah, my dear brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us to obtain. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to love Him. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to fulfill the element of this hadith where all of the makhluk, all the creation in the heavens love us, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all the individuals in the world, they start to love us, they start to like us, subhanAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy, ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. If you say ameen, it's also as if I'm saying it for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it so our spouse and kids are the comfort and coolness of our eyes, subhanAllah, and Imam al-Muttaqeen, so that we're leaders of the Muttaqeen. Allahumma a'ini ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to remember Him always, to always be thankful towards Him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it so that when we worship Him in the best of manners and the best of ways. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. My dear brothers and sisters, before I end off this khutbah, I just want to say, as many of you know, we have closed on the church, and that is now a masjid, subhanAllah, in Aurora. It is our new property, our new location in Aurora, Ontario, subhanAllah. And the word has spread throughout the Muslim community within the GTA, and even beyond, in the greater Ontario area, subhanAllah. So my dear brothers and sisters, we really need individuals to help contribute to this. We have different construction that needs tending towards, right? Like 60K for the carpets, 50K for, various other things. And we need generous brothers and sisters to help with this, right? Subhanallah. So if you dear brothers and sisters can pull together, and help us with this project and establish the first masjid in Aurora, which is in such a beautiful location, right? It's right outside of one of the best bus stops in Aurora. You see so many people walk by, ask questions. So many brothers and sisters who don't even know it's a masjid yet. They look at it and we have to tell them, no, this isn't a church anymore, it's a masjid, subhanAllah. So to my dear brothers and sisters, this is a call for help, right? Whatever you can donate, whatever you can give, whether it's your money, it's your time, this is your legacy, my dear brothers and sisters. It's not just a legacy for the imam or just a legacy for the volunteers. It's a legacy for you and your kids, so that you may leave it for them. You, your kids, your grandkids, your businesses, everything. Subhanallah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وبارك على محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد.